Let's picture.
Hey guys, so we're the Trendies. We're back again for our second segment on the Super Bowl that happened this Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to talk about the controversies. So let's start with the biggest controversy: who was performing and who was asked to perform.
Mm-hmm.
So again, as we said before in our last segment, Maroon 5 was the lead performers, but
Mm-hmm.
they weren't the first choice of the Super Bowl.
No.
Yeah.
So, Laura, do you want to take this? Who's the first choice?
First, Rihanna was actually offered as a headliner, the headliner spot for the NFL. It soon went through a stream of different artists, including Pink and trickling down to Cardi B. Even other entertainers like Amy Schumer, who would not have been a performer but would have been cameoed in different commercials, had also refused to be featured in any NFL commercials of that this year.
Yeah.
So there were a few artists in the running for this headline performance,
Yes.
but Maroon 5 ultimately
Ultimately.
took the spot for reasons siding with Colin Kaepernick, who was a former NFL player.
Yes. So Rihanna was the original performer that they were gonna have to play, but she declined it because of Colin Kaepernick. So if you're not aware of Colin Kaepernick, I believe in 2016 around there, he started this, take a knee during the national anthem in protest of police brutality and injustice of the of races. So it trickles down all the way to the 2019 Super Bowl. Rihanna declined in favor of Kaepernick. She said, I'm not doing this because Kaepernick, whatever he stands for. Me personally, I do not stand with Kaepernick. I do not see. I see what he stands for, but I do not agree that this is
That
where
it
he
was.
stands.
Mhm.
I stated this before in one of my classes with Laura. um, the NFL is not a platform for you to do this, initiative of taking a knee during the national anthem. There's many platforms to do it, but in such a big stage where uh, millions of people watch this sport, that's not the position to take it. So I want to know your guys' opinions on Kaepernick. Do you agree, disagree? Where do you stand?
I definitely agree with Kaepernick. I feel like he did what he had to do because it all started from, brutality against African Americans.
Okay.
And
people of color.
yeah, and people of color, yes. And he decided, you know what? Millions of people who watch the NFL game. Many people are going to see this, and this is something that everybody needs to know about. Whether you know about it or you don't know about it, you have to know what's going on in society.
And it's a game where all ethnic backgrounds watch. It's not
exactly.
just-
So I have the quote right here, what he said on why he kneeled.
Okay.
I'm not going to stand to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. That was a direct quote from Colin Kaepernick.
Exactly.
Now, this leads into the question, um, is there oppression of people of color in today's society?
Yes.
Well, back
Sorry.
to his taking the knee. It's hard for me to say whether he's right or
Oh,
wrong.
that's right.
I do agree that there's certain platforms, and by him doing that, ultimately did risk his football career and his professional career as a player.
Yeah.
He's became a free agent in 2017, and after that, no league or no
Wanted
team
him.
would sign him.
Yeah.
So now it's 2019, and he's still teamless.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to say whether he was right or wrong. Although I do agree in his political stance and that the message he was trying to convey, I do agree with Edwin by there's a platform for everything. And I personally have family members in the military. And to not stand for a flag for people who go out and fight for you, I don't know. I did think it was a little disrespectful. On the other hand, the national anthem does have questionable um, phrases in it that aren't sung.
Yeah.
It's lengthier than what we sing and perform. So that's another thing. It's such a muddy area for me. I personally stand for the national anthem.
Yeah.
But
Same. I mean,
Yeah.
after his movement, a lot of players started to take a knee and started to take initiative, and um the NFL received a lot of backlash. A lot of people were starting to want to boycott the NFL. And obviously, they had to do something about it. It's an industry, it's an empire. They needed to keep their viewers happy. So they did institute a rule stating that if you are not going to stand for the national anthem, to stay in the locker rooms.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
that's obviously
But other than that, you have to stand
you have to stand for the national
if you're
anthem.
out on the field on television. Now there was a lot of backlash about this because people are saying, when you're at home watching the football games
Mhm.
and they sing the national anthem, are you standing on your sofa? Like, are you standing
yes.
watching TV?
Yeah.
And that I guess I understand and all that stuff.
Mhm.
But it's again a difference at such a high celebrity, such a big athlete.
Mhm.
You put in on this platform where we're watching you have to set an example in a
Mhm.
way. If you're setting this example to be rebellious in a way, I mean, you could say that being rebellious is a good thing, to fight against the system or systems that are built against you, but there was no system built against him. I don't believe there's a system built against race. I believe when it comes to systems being built
Mm.
against race, that's more on the economic side, in my opinion. Not really when it comes to opportunity wise. Opportunity wise, I feel like we're all equal here. So it goes back again to my question.
Mm.
Do you feel like we are being we're all minorities here? Do you
Mhm.
feel like we're being oppressed in
I
society?
think, okay, I'm going to go straight off of what you said. Economically, you see that there's a structure of oppression. Economics play a big role in opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
If you come from a low income household, you're going to have less opportunities because there's other things that you are responsible for. A lot of schoolings. I know that schools in general aren't as, not that they're not advanced, but they don't get enough funding
Okay.
in lower income neighborhoods, which means less opportunities. So, in a sense, I do feel like there's a structural oppression in opportunities for minorities and people of color.
So
Yeah.
promise, and then I have something to say about that.
Yeah, I honestly, with your comments saying that there are certain platforms, to speak your mind,
Yes.
and you guys say that that was not the right platform. I think that was the perfect platform.
Okay.
It's the perfect platform.
I could
I
see
feel
where,
like
yeah, it
I
is.
feel like no matter where you are or what you're doing, I feel like you need to speak your mind, and whether it means risking your job,
Mhm.
as long as you have that integrity for yourself and you know that you're standing for something that you believe in, it doesn't matter if you're jobless, if you're broke, it doesn't matter if people like you, it doesn't matter, because you're standing up for what you believe in, and you want other people to stand up too, like not stand up, to kneel down.
Yeah.
Like other people
Mhm.
were kneeling down, and that's exactly what he wanted. He
Yeah,
wanted
he
other
got his
people.
message delivered.
Yes, that's
Um,
exactly what he
so
wanted.
going back on, I mean, we're staying on Kaepernick, but
Yes.
Mhm.
I just feel when it comes to Kaepernick, and I love how you're talking about schools and the poor
Mhm.
districts and all that stuff, and I'll get to that right now. But the one reason that I was really against Kaepernick's standing is because he doesn't have really experience. He doesn't know what it's like to live in a place of poverty, to be in a family of low income. He
Mm.
was adopted by a white family,
Mhm.
lived in a wealthy place, and he doesn't know what it's like to be oppressed or in a poor place. And I love that he brought in low income school places, because I grew up in the Bronx. And I don't want to get into my life like that. Like,
Of
I'm pretty
course.
sure no one really cares. But I grew up in the Bronx. I went to school in the South Bronx, one of the poorest districts in America,
Mhm.
in Mott Haven area,
Mhm.
in 3rd Avenue, 149. For someone just got, and I'm not laughing at it, but someone just got robbed by 4 men the other day. Okay, it was one of the poorest districts in America, one of the worst educated places in America.
Mm.
Okay, my school, right now, that my high school that I attended right now is on the brink of being closed down. That's how bad it is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm here on a
Yes.
4-year private university. Where's the oppression in that?
Mhm.
Sure, I wasn't in a poverty state, but I sure was not in a high middle class state either.
Mhm.
So where's the oppression? Because I know a lot of my friends right now, they're doing good. We all went to the same high school. in the one of the poorest places. I see a lot of people, and it's sort of a choice in a way of where you want to take yourself. It's not on the system. I don't like when people blame the system. You
Mhm.
could put as much money on in the education system. It's how much they're gonna use it, not how much is gonna be spent towards it.
Mhm.
Because my school, we didn't have the best laptops. We didn't have, iPads like other private charter schools and all that stuff. And there was about 20 teachers that left my school in the last year that was there. We
Like
didn't have the best education there, the best teachers.
Yeah.
Our funding for my school is a trade school, carpentry, electrical, and
Mhm.
all that stuff. We didn't have a lot of funding for that, but a lot of us made it through. My starting class when I was a freshman was 140 people, I believe. My senior year, my graduating class was 23 people.
Wow.
Really?
What?
Yes,
23 people.
23 people out of 140.
Well, you see, 23 people made it to graduate, but where are the other children?
Exactly.
That's the point I'm bringing.
Mhm.
That's such a huge gap. Now, you personally, you succeeded on your own. You tried your best. You put yourself out there, because even though you didn't grow up in the most privileged of circumstances, you kept a privileged mindset.
Yeah.
You said, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make it to college. I'm going to. But what about the other children? Now, going back to Kaepernick. So do you believe that he is a privileged person of color?
I believe that he is.
Because
He just grew up in different circumstances.
Yeah.
So-
And I don't. I
do you
don't.
think that
100
discredits his view on like
I don't think
wanting-
it discredits, because I wouldn't ever discredit anyone's views.
Mhm.
Everyone has their own opinion and they're entitled to that. And hey, if you believe that minorities are being oppressed, you believe that. I just think opposite.
Mm.
And answering the question of I had that privileged mindset, and
Not a privileged.
No,
I
no,
didn't
I
mean that in a
understand.
negative way.
And
I
no,
meant
no,
that
no,
in a
yeah, yeah,
positive
no.
way. Like you
Yeah.
wanted to.
I wanted to continue in
Yeah.
college. I am again, graduating class was 23 people. About, I want to say 6 of us or 7 of us went to college. Rest of them went into trade unions and all that stuff.
The other 20
The,
or
the other about the
100?
remaining no, the other 100, I'll get into that right now. But the other remaining of the graduating
Mhm.
class went into the MTA, Con Edison, and the union,
They
which
did.
are great.
Okay.
Of
Are great.
course.
And you don't need really that much education to go
No,
into those.
but they did something with themselves.
They
They're
did
not
something
just
with
gonna-
themselves. Now, for
Yeah.
the other 100, they didn't do nothing with themselves. You know
Mm.
They
where I
didn't
saw
finish
them
high
in the
school.
corner smoking weed, selling drugs.
Well, that's
I saw many of
Exactly.
them coming out pregnant, and if you want to have a kid, go ahead. But at a young age, I mean, that says a lot for your future. Not that you're not gonna be nothing in the future. There's trust me, there's many stories of people having kids at a young age and making something of themselves in the future. I'm 100% for that, making yourself something in the future. But coming not even graduating high school, and you're coming out with a kid already, and especially in a place that's already uh,
impoverished.
the second most the second state with the most poverty.
I
Yeah.
think
New
that
York.
this illustration you just created just shows how economics affect your
Exactly.
opportunities.
Yes. Like I come from Lower East Side Manhattan. I
Okay.
don't know if you guys know about that neighborhood, but it's like it's people like stereotype it to be rich, but it's actually not.
It's
It's
gentrified.
It's
Yeah.
gentrified. So like it's right next to the East Village. The East Village, I can say yes, there's a lot of Caucasians coming in, making it better, but in reality, it is very like impoverished. Like, and I feel like I kind of relate to Kaepernick because, like you said, he's black, but he was adopted by a white family. I'm, Dominican, but I'm still not dark skin, but I'm brown skin, and I was adopted by a white Puerto Rican woman. And not only that, but she's elderly, so she's pretty poor. She only has like
Yeah.
one income, which is her Social Security check. So I grew up poor, and I come from a school. Well, my middle school is gang closed because it's impoverished. Well, not impoverished, it just doesn't have a lot of funding.
Yeah.
And then my high school was really small, and we didn't have a lot of funding, but we still made the best of it. We had many clubs, we had many things, and with the little money that we made, we try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
And the students individually were very smart. It's a college preparatory, so
Yeah.
we're very smart, and we want to make the best individually, as individuals. So I feel like your surroundings, your economic circumstances, it really does affect you, but it depends on yourself to make it, forward. Like
Yeah.
you did. Like you come from a very, impoverished neighborhood, but you being a smart individual, you made it by yourself.
Yeah. And
So
um now I know we're straying away from the whole football aspect,
yeah.
Mhm.
but this is about Kaepernick
Because-
and his statements.
Mhm.
But Laura, do you have something to say? Did you want to say something?
No, no.
No?
You know what I do? I just it's hard for me to I do now. I didn't know that about his background. I thought that he was biracial.
Yeah, me too.
Not a lot of people would know that about
That
his
he was
background because that's not
adopted.
something he
I
would
thought that
say.
he was in a biracial family. I didn't know that he was adopted, and I don't know about his background, and I don't know how his childhood was like. I don't know how he grew up, but what I do have to say is I think regardless of your circumstances, whether you grew up in the poorest of neighborhoods or the richest of neighborhoods, if I feel like if he felt that there was something wrong and he took a stand for it and he did so, and I applaud him for that. I'm not going to let his lack or his abundance of opportunities affect my view of him.
Exactly.
Because I feel like regardless if you're the richest man or the poorest man, we all have.
So wait. Sorry.
I'm saying that regardless of his circumstances growing up, whether that he did grow up in the way he did,
Yeah.
within an adopted white family,
So
that he still
correction, I was wrong. He's not
Oh.
adopted. He was a
He-
biracial,
he is
but he did
biracial.
grow up in rich rich
Okay.
household.
Yeah. That's what I remember learning about him.
I know that
he
he
was
looks
biracial.
biracial. I'm
He
like,
look-
Was
yeah.
he adopted?
No, he was not adopted.
Oh, so
Sorry, that
he
was
grew up
my
with-
fault.
wait, so,
Okay.
but his mother was white though, right?
His mother was white and
His
his
father
father,
was
is black.
Okay, I remember.
And
That's
he,
what I remember.
But he
about
did
him.
he
Yeah.
did grow up in wealthy
Mhm.
neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And to be honest, we don't know if he's ever felt that threat as a because he's a man of color.
Mhm.
yeah.
We don't know
I-
if he's ever felt and then that goes into discrediting a lot of biracial people. I
Yeah.
know that a lot of biracial children say that people don't take them seriously because either I'm not black enough or I'm not white enough, or
Yeah,
regardless of
I've-
the race that you're mixed with.
I feel like your race shouldn't matter. You could be white, black, Asian,
No, yeah,
whatever.
definitely.
But if you still notice that there's a kind of like, oppression towards a certain group, I feel like you don't have to, but it's like it's amazing and it's honorable for you to stand up, or in this case, kneel down
Mm.
for that group of people,
Yeah.
And whether he was fully white or fully black, or even that he is biracial, the fact that he did it is commendable and it's amazing.
So before we go back into why this ties into the Super Bowl and all that,
yeah.
I just want to say, there was this one game which really irritated me about the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. There was this one game that he wore these socks with
Oh,
pigs,
I didn't see that.
and
I didn't
the
see that.
pigs had police hats.
Oh no, that's no
Oh.
okay.
And
no.
he was, because his
I
whole
know,
thing
yeah.
was about police brutality,
Mhm.
and he wore these socks with pigs and police caps on them.
Mhm.
Your opinions, because already you
Okay.
guys are like,
Wow.
Okay, I think that took it too far.
yeah,
Cause okay, I feel like it should be a civil. Well, that was civil because he wasn't like being aggressive towards anybody. But at the same time,
it was
we
disrespectful.
You're
it was
disrespecting
disrespectful because not
clearly.
all policemen are
Mhm.
pigs. Like
Yep.
Yeah,
not all of them are like that. And I feel like if you're gonna take a stand, you should take a stand without disrespecting the other side.
Of course,
You know?
because there's definitely a lot more good in the police department than there is bad. There's a
Definitely.
lot of bad apples that are creating this distorted image of the police force. I personally, one of my best friends, her father's a policeman, and he's been working in the police department for a number of years. And I know that she gets she feels hurt when people talk badly about the police department,
Yeah.
because she's like, but that's my father, like, and I know he's a good man, and I know the people he works with are good men, but it's just the bad apples that you see that take the cake for the whole department.
no, yeah. It was just distasteful, honestly, what he did. And going on police brutality, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that cops shooting minorities doesn't exist, but the rates of it is so small that it would take years for for cops shooting minorities to catch up to minorities shooting minorities. Because
Mhm.
let's be 100% honest, and let's be 100% realistic. The rates of minorities shooting minorities is skyrocketed, but that's not the focus here.
Mhm.
That should be the focus. Telling your own people, stop killing each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not, hey, these people that it is a thing that's happening
Mhm.
occasionally, not every day, but this thing, that is very small, of police shooting or brutalizing minorities,
Mhm.
that shouldn't be the focus point. I think it should focus more on his people themselves. Stop killing each other in the streets.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, not to wrap it up, but like to go to wrap up this little session, then go into football and how it ties into the football. Kaepernick was offered a Nike deal last year, and that brought a lot of controversy as well.
And I think he accepted it
He accepted it. Yeah, he
because I
did.
do see his ads.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
I don't know, because
Yeah, it was just his face, and it was like a
it was
quote
his face
over
Yeah,
and
he
a
it.
has like a
quill,
slogan.
quote. Yeah. I just didn't agree with that either, because I was someone who wasn't active in the NFL for about like 2 years.
Mhm.
He took the opportunity. I feel like he took the opportunity from someone who could have deserved it. Someone who been
Mm.
playing in a sport for at least 2 years, and someone that deserved it.
But maybe
Mm.
Nike didn't do it to represent him as an athlete, someone who was a former athlete
But this
who
is
had
the-
a thing to say.
This is the thing. The whole thing was based around athletes, and someone who Colin Kaepernick. He hasn't been active in the NFL
Mhm.
for about 2 years. He's a average football player, not something great like a Brady or a Manning. But he's an average football player. He wasn't an all-star like what we see with some sports. We have like our Jeters in baseball,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I don't know, basketball, but basketball or LeBron James and all that stuff. He wasn't that a football. He was just an average football player. He got offered this deal that it could have went to someone who
Mhm.
deserved it. I would have loved to see it go to a baseball player, a Nike deal to a baseball player. I don't know about Nike's rules about giving to baseball players, because
Mhm.
I personally never seen a baseball player sponsored by
Mhm.
Nike. But I would like Didi Gregorius or whatever, however you pronounce his name, or someone of the Yankees. Because
I think it
Yeah.
was a strategic move on Nike's part. I think they know he's not an active
Yeah.
athlete. They know that he's not up to par to other athletes that are active right now on the field. But I think that they knew that one, has a very recognizable face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two, he has a very strong presence in the social media world
Mhm.
and in just the entertainment world in general,
Whether good or
Yeah.
bad.
whether good or bad.
Mhm.
And it brings buzz, brings business,
Yeah.
and a lot of people were pro Kaepernick, so I think
Yeah.
that just brought in business revenue.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the politics of Nike agreed with what he stood for, I'm not sure. Sometimes things are just strictly business, and I feel like that probably brought in a lot of revenue because kids probably look up to him and be like, "Wow, Kaepernick, I want to be like him."
It was all just
Yeah.
a marketing strategy.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
It was all marketing strategy. Like, oh, he's the face right now, even though he's not the best, football player, like you said.
Yeah.
He is the face right now. Everybody knows about him, whether they don't even watch him play. They still know his name.
Yeah, but the
So,
face of what? Because at that
The-
time he wasn't in no team,
yeah, he wasn't in
I
no
don't
team,
know.
but he
not in
was
the
just
NFL.
he
at
was
all.
just the face of
I guess an
standing
athlete.
up.
But I
no,
mean-
not even like standing up towards brutality towards oppressed
All right.
African
I
Americans.
see what you're saying.
So,
Like
yeah.
you have no backing. You're not on the team, so why are you being a poster child for something?
Yeah,
But I feel like he was just maybe you don't need a team. Maybe you could just be your own. Like we know that he was an athlete. We know that he was football.
yeah.
Mhm.
So speaking of football, let's just end it real quick with speaking about the Super Bowl and this ties in. So, do you think that these celebrities should have backed down because of Kaepernick, though?
I don't know.
Because I find that
feel-
very
I feel like
egotistical.
no. I feel like they shouldn't.
Mm.
And I know this sounding weird, but I feel like no, they shouldn't have backed down because at the end of the day, the halftime show is strictly entertainment.
Yeah.
There's no
Mhm.
sports
It's no
going
politics,
on.
no
There's no politics.
sports.
It's just about having
It's-
a good
yeah.
time,
Mm.
enjoying. Who wouldn't like to see Rihanna?
And it was just
Yeah.
this big
know?
shadow over the Super Bowl
Yes.
halftime
They,
show.
yeah, And I think it brought down the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
Mhm.
people's opinions were that the Super Bowl was boring or that the halftime show was trash. And bringing that political world into the
Yeah.
halftime show,
It made it even worse.
It made it
Uh-huh.
like
It's strictly
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
Listening to nice music, you're just watching the halftime show. You're having a good time. Like,
And even Kaepernick's lawyer went on many news sources talking about how Maroon 5 shouldn't perform.
mhm.
It's very egotistical for Kaepernick to send his lawyer on these to say that you shouldn't perform because of you shouldn't be perform because of for Kaepernick's name. I think
No,
that's
I feel like it should be their own decision
Yeah.
whether they want to perform or not.
and not
Like,
for no
yes,
Kaepernick. I don't
even
think
during
Kaepernick.
the game, I like that idea where if you don't want to stand, just stay in the locker room.
Yeah.
If you do want to stand, then come out and stand. I like that too. It's your decision,
Yeah.
you know?
So we're gonna end it right there, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed our first episode, guys. We are the Trendies. My name is Edwin Figueroa,
This is Laura Royal.
It's Promise Jimenez.
and we'll see you next time on the Trendies.
Next Thursday at
Yeah.
10 o'clock.